Warning, the following video contains massive spoilers. Viewer discretion is advised. Hey everyone, Will here for Till the Last Credit, coming at you with a review of last night's Star Trek Discovery premiere. Now, Star Trek Discovery has been a much anticipated, but also much controversied continuation of the Star Trek franchise on television. We have not had a Star Trek television series since the cancellation of Enterprise in 2005, and the only Star Trek that we've had since then has been the J.J. Abrams Kelvin Universe movies. Now, first and foremost, I'd like to start off by saying this review has spoilers. There are a lot of spoilers in this review, so if you have not seen the premiere first two episodes of Star Trek Discovery, they're available for free right now on the CBS All Access website. I would encourage you to go watch them and then come back, or if you don't care about spoilers, let's get into it. Now, Star Trek Discovery is about, well, okay, the premiere episodes of Star Trek Discovery, okay, follows Sonequa Martin Green as Lieutenant Commander Michael Burnham. Now, some might take pause for a minute. Well, that's a female character, and that's a man's name. Yeah, but that's true. However, this would not be the first time that Star Trek has been gender neutral. Oftentimes, we would have Captain Kirk refer to female characters as, like, say in Star Trek II, he called Saavik Mr. Saavik, just the same as he would any male character. And we also have female captains being referred to as sir and not ma'am. In fact, this was one thing that Janeway even pointed out when she took over command of the USS Voyager, that she does not like to be called sir, no matter what Star Trek or Starfleet regulations say. So there is definitely precedent for that, and it's not that big of a deal. Okay, so she has a boy's name, so what? She is also a human, having been raised by Vulcans. In specific, she's been raised by Sarek and Amanda, the parents of Spock. So she is, in essence, Spock's sister. Now, this has been the center of some controversy because Spock has never mentioned that he had a sister before. Look, if you are going into Star Trek Discovery, I'm going to tell you this right up front. If you're going into it wanting to hate it, there are a lot of things to nitpick and to tear apart about it. Absolutely, most certainly. There are a lot of things that you can do, that you can cite to justify hating this show. However, if you're going into it with an open mind, you have to be prepared to make some canon and continuity allowances. One of those being, hey, guess what? Spock has a sister now. Also, you're also going to have to make an allowance for the fact that even though CBS wants you to believe that this is in the prime timeline, it looks much more like the Kelvin timeline, and it fits much more with those movies. Me, in my own personal headcanon, I would prefer to think of it as a Kelvin timeline show, and that doesn't bother me because I don't hate those movies as much as some people. Star Trek Into Darkness really got on my nerves, but other than that, I didn't really hate all those movies. So anyway, so we're following the first officer of the USS Shenzhou, captained by Michelle Yeoh. And that was another thing that people thought was wrong with this show, was that it doesn't follow the captain, it follows the first officer. Well, Star Trek has always been an ensemble show, and let me tell you that even though the Michael Burnham character was definitely the focal point of this story arc for these first two episodes, the captain wasn't just left, off to the side. The captain is a very active part, and she is still definitely the captain of this ship. To be honest, it wasn't anything that really bothered me. Every character in Star Trek has had their turn. Every character in every Star Trek series has a handful of episodes that they're the star of. And I don't think Discovery's going to, in the long run, be really any different. But this story definitely focuses on Michael Burnham, and we'll get into why. Now, she was, as I said, a human raised by Vulcans. So she has been brought up by logic. She has been brought up with the same sort of personality that Vulcans have. She's very cold. Some cases, she's kind of even a bitch. But she is a good character, and she is at heart just wanting to do... She's actually... I thought she was very similar to early T'Pol on Enterprise. Very similar to that. Very cold, this is the logical thing to do, this is what we should do, and not wanting to take any guff about it, even from her captain, who she ultimately betrays. The USS Shinzo has a run-in with the Klingons. The Klingons are a splintered empire at this point, and they are rallying behind a leader who is trying to bring unity back to the empire. Now, Commander Burnham brings up to her captain, look, when the Vulcans made first contact with the Klingons, they fired on them, and the Klingons saw that as a sign of respect, and they got along. So, by that logic, we should also fire on the Klingons. Now, of course, Michelle Yeoh, being as Starfleet captains are, was like, what? No, we're not going to fire on these people. We're going to try to handle this diplomatically. And it all goes to shit from there. The Klingons fire on them. There's a big fight. And honestly, this one battle leads to the almost 100 years Cold War between the Klingons and the Federation. At the very least, until Star Trek VI. But I believe that the tensions between the humans and the Klingons went even to Khitomer. So yeah, this battle right here is what kicks off that entire 100 years Cold War between the humans and the Klingons. Now, Burnham tries to take control of the Shinzo and fire on the Klingons herself, and all that gets for her is arrested, court-martialed, and that's where we leave the end of the pilot. And this is a really interesting, I thought, way to go about it, because had this been a traditional TV show, even a traditional Star Trek TV show, we would have met Michael Burnham in whatever prison camp she's going to be in when she's found by the Discovery, and everything we saw last night would have been backstory. And usually the backstory is interesting. Usually you're sitting there like, well, I would like to see Tom Paris join the Maquis and get arrested on his very first mission. This time they actually showed it to you. And because of that, this pilot, it's not really a pilot. It's more like a prologue. And it definitely stands alone, apart from the rest of the series. Now, like I said, this pilot is... It very much feels more like the movie universe than any television show that we've gotten before, and I like that. I very much like the visual. All the actors are fantastic. The characters are interesting. They're engaging. You get to see how the relationships between them probably have been for the past however long they've been on this ship together. We know that Burnham has been on the Shinzo for 7 years. Under the command of Michelle Yeoh, and it comes together nicely. It's very cohesive. I really enjoyed Star Trek Discovery, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the show. Now, unfortunately, we still have the problem of CBS placing it, at least in North America, behind a paywall. That, I think, is a hurdle that they're going to have to overcome, because there are a lot of people that are going to just watch it. They're just going to just stream it. They're going to torrent it. They're going to pirate it. And I really don't know what CBS is planning to do to get around that. So, I mean, we'll have to see. But as of right now, I mean, it's definitely good. It was worth watching. It's definitely worth paying for. If you've been on the fence about Star Trek Discovery, trust me, I was on the fence. I was like, well, I don't know about all this. I don't know about this. I don't know about this, and I don't know about this. but all of my fears were definitely alleviated through watching this. You know, everything that I thought was, trust me, it's good. If you're at all open-minded by it, you will enjoy it. You know, the only other thing I could say is the look of the Klingons. I mean, it is what it is. It's kind of jarring, but they definitely act like the Klingons, and for me, that was the more important part. I had no problem seeing these bald, bone-wearing creatures as Klingons. There were times when they reminded me much more of the Xindi than the Klingons, but they were definitely, the majority of the time, were definitely Klingons. So I had no problem with that. They'll take some getting used to, but I'm completely on board as of right now. I think you should come on board too. Star Trek Discovery was a really good show. I'm really looking forward to what they do next and to actually getting into the meat of the show. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Star Trek Discovery. Let me know what your thoughts were in the comments section below. Thank you for listening and have a nice day.